So guys, today I'm going to talk about real-time testing. Okay, so I will explain what exactly is real-time testing and I will show you how real-time testing is done in real life. So this video is going to be very important for those of you who want to test their strategies, apply those strategies in real life. Those of you who are inclined towards automated trading, doing a more systematic kind of a trading. So please watch this video and try to understand how real-time testing is done. So first thing first, nowadays there are a lot of websites where you can do back testing, right? So there are websites such as StockMock or Zero the Streak or Quantman, where you can build your strategies, test them, run them on the past 2 years of data, 3 years of data, or even 10 years of data, and you can find out whether the strategy would have worked or not. So let's say you have done a lot of back testing and now you have a strategy which you are very confident that will work in real life. Now what should you do next? Should you just directly jump into real life, take all your positions based on the backtested data? Answer is no. Why? Because see, this is one of the very common mistakes that I see people make. They just blindly go by the backtested results, and when they trade in real life, they complain that what they are seeing in real life is not what they saw in backtest. So what is happening here? So what is happening is that there is a gap between that backtested data versus real life. And I will give you guys an example of that. So most of these websites, they are running on 1 minute granularity. Means the OHLC data that you see, open, high, low and close, that is for the 1 minute of data. Now, if you ever traded in options, you would know that option prices can significantly fluctuate within 1 minute. So there is a scenario which is quite possible that in real life, option prices fluctuated enough that your stop losses got hit, but in backtesting that will not happen. And hence the backtested results will look much better than the real life results. So there are many such practical considerations that you need to understand before you start trading in real life, and that is where the concept of real-time testing comes into picture. So what is real-time testing? So real-time testing is simply taking that strategy which you have built and executing that in real life, except the fact that instead of taking real trades, you take virtual trades, right? So you can call it as a virtual trading also. So now let me show you an example of how real-time testing is done. So as you can see, this is the chart of Sensex. So today is Friday, so it is Sensex expiry. And I have built a simple strategy to see if expiry day trading will work on Sensex as well. Now what I have done is that I have built that strategy in Python. So what this code is doing is running the strategy as if it is happening in real life. But whenever a buy signal comes or a sell signal comes or an exit signal comes, instead of taking real life trades in the trading terminal, those trades are stored somewhere that we can analyze. It can be done in an Excel file or it can be done in a database. Now in my case, I started doing this in Excel file, but later on we just felt it was better to do it in a database so that we can even build some UI on top of that. So for example, right here, if you see this is like a front end that we have built on top of the database that we created, so that we can visually analyze what is happening. So at any point of time, I can visually see what is going on, right? If the strategy is working fine or it is facing some issues. Now for most of you, it is not possible to build a database and do like a visual analysis like this. So what you can do is you can write the data in an Excel. Okay, so this is what the Excel looks like. So the same information, you can get this in Excel, and you can of course see the profits and losses at the end of the day in the Excel file. Now, what is the benefit of doing all this, right? I mean, this is a lot of work. Is it really worth it? Why am I doing all this thing rather than just, directly taking trades? Well, the number one thing that you have to analyze is that execution is very, very different than planning. What you have done in backtesting is you have done planning, but when it comes to execution, there are many challenges. So one practical challenge, which a lot of you guys might not be aware, is that the lot sizes keep changing. So Bank Nifty's lot size, for example, at some point of time was 25. Now it is 15. 1 year from now, 2 years from now, that can even go down to 10 or even 5 for that matter. So you need to of course adjust the quantities, right? The quantities that you planned for may not be the multiples of the lot sizes that are currently active. So that is one challenge. Second thing, which is again very important, is slippages, right? So a lot of times what happens is that slippages are not accounted for in backtesting. So backtesting assumes a very clean, proper, perfect environment when you get exactly the same price as you see. Whereas there are days where market participants are not very active and the prices that you actually get may be very adverse than the prices that you ideally should have gotten. So slippages are another thing which you will find in virtual trading, which you will not find in backtesting. Third thing is liquidity issue. So if your strategy relies on, let's say, deep in the money options or sometimes even out of money options, and there is not enough liquidity on those options, that will get reflected only in the real life testing, not in the back testing, right? Last but not the least, by doing the real time testing, you can also estimate the cost of trading. So I remember one of the students of mine developed a strategy where he was executing some trades every 5 minutes. And it was looking perfectly fine on paper, but when he actually calculated the cost of trading, the cost of brokerage that he had to pay and the charges that he had to pay on that, the cost became astronomically high, right? So these are all the practical aspects that you can only understand from doing real-time testing rather than just back testing. So the bottom line, guys, here is that you cannot directly start trading in real life without doing some kind of a real-time testing, right? And there are a lot of advantages that I just talked about of real-time testing. The question comes at how do you do real-time testing, right? For those of you who have programming knowledge, that should not be that hard. It's actually very easy. Many of you can do it. But let's say you don't have any programming knowledge. Then what should you do? Well, in that case, what you can do is you can approach. There are freelancers out there who are on Fiverr.com or some of these other websites. You can approach them. You can give them your strategy that, hey, this is the strategy. Can you just give me a code which will execute this strategy, but write the results in an Excel file? And nowadays there are many good developers who are available at a very reasonable price. So you can get them to help you with writing the strategy and help with the initial setup. And then you can make some tweaks on your own whenever you want to kind of play around with that. And then you can see the results in real time. So that is one way. Another thing is that, okay, let's say your strategy is very, very simple. You don't really have too many complicated rules. You just have very simple rules of buying and selling. Then you don't even have to have any of these programming things. You can just do it manually, right? So you can create some alerts and based on the conditions of buying and selling. And whenever that alert comes, you just note down the price of the corresponding, stocks or index or the options. And then at the end of the day, analyze that Excel file and deduce based on that. Whichever way you do it, guys, the bottom line here is that you need to do one round of real-time testing before you can trade in real life. Because I can tell you from my experience that if you do not do this kind of a testing properly, you will get a shock because the results in real life will not look as good as they looked in back testing. Okay, so I hope you guys are going to keep that in mind and incorporate some of the ideas that I shared with you in this video.